Today, we're tackling a massive question, one that companies pour billions into every single year. Does all that corporate training actually work?
I mean, think about it. The investment in employee development is just astronomical. But figuring out if that money is well spent, that's a whole other story. We've all been in those training sessions, right? But do they really move the needle on performance?
Well, let's find out.
So, to get some real answers, we're going to dig into a new study that went deep inside one specific company to grade their training programs. Let's take a look at the report card. Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the big picture. This isn't just some HR thought exercise. For actual businesses, getting training right or wrong has huge real-world consequences. Here's the thing. Effective training is not just a nice little perk. It's a fundamental investment. I mean, when it actually works, it sharpens skills, it gets people more engaged, and their performance goes up. And you know what that means? The whole organization becomes more productive and stays competitive. It's basically the engine for growth. So you're probably wondering, how did the researchers figure all this out? Let's pull back the curtain and look at exactly how they put this investigation together.
The approach here was pretty straightforward and solid. They used what's called descriptive research. Basically, they sent out a detailed questionnaire to a sample of 150 employees at this consultancy. That gave them some really solid, hard data to work with.
Okay, now this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because when the researchers started crunching all those numbers, they found something that kind of flies in the face of a lot of common assumptions we have about the workplace.
They asked a really simple but powerful question. Who's actually getting the most out of all this training? I mean, just take a second and think about your own job. Who would you guess benefits most?
You know, a lot of people might guess that things like your gender or maybe your educational background would make a big difference. It seems logical, right? Maybe some people see more value in it, or maybe they get more out of it depending on their degree. These are super common assumptions. Well, the data said something completely different. After all the analysis, they found absolutely no statistical difference based on gender or education level. The training was just as effective for everyone, right across the board. So yeah, it turns out those common assumptions were just that, assumptions. All right, so let's get into the meat of it. What did the company's report card actually look like? What were they nailing, and where were they, well, kind of missing the mark? And right off the bat, a huge win. A whopping 93% of employees said the training made the company's main recruitment process more efficient. I mean, that's a home run. A direct positive impact on how the business runs. But it wasn't all straight A's. When they asked how well the training copied real-world situations, the feedback was a lot more mixed. About 2/3 said it was moderately effective, but only about 1/3 said it was highly effective. So there's a bit of a disconnect there between the training room and the actual job. On the bright side, the company got high marks for the logistics. Over half the employees were very satisfied with both the variety of training they could choose from and how easy it was to access it all. So they were doing a great job of making the training available, even if the content itself wasn't perfect. And here's the big red flag. Only 30%, that's less than 1 in 3, felt the training was up to date with what's actually happening in the industry right now. In a field like recruitment that changes so fast, that is a critical miss. Outdated training is almost worse than no training at all. So you've got these good points and these bad points. But the study doesn't just leave us there. It actually offers a clear blueprint for how to get better. So let's look at how you turn these insights into real action. So what's the playbook? It's a 5-step plan. First, actually survey your employees to find out what skills they need to work on. Stop guessing. Second, make it real. Design training that feels like the actual job with interactive, hands-on practice. Third, and this is crucial, you have to measure if it's working. Use tests before and after to see if skills are actually growing. You can't just hope for the best. Fourth, you got to get managers involved. If they don't support and encourage it, the lessons will just fade away. And finally, you have to build a culture where learning is valued. Ask for feedback, recognize people who participate. It's a really practical roadmap for anyone who wants to stop wasting money and start getting real results. And that really brings us to the final question we should all be asking. As this study makes crystal clear, effective training is so much more than just putting a meeting on the calendar. It's about being targeted, relevant, and supported. So take a hard look at your own organization and ask, is our training just here to check a box, or is it actually designed to drive results?